So tell us more about the School of Social Justice and how this particular series, will achieve the goals of this organization.
Course, so the School of Social Justice, we have a mission to train the next generation of Martin Luther Kings. Of course, a seemingly small ambition, with a huge vision of building a world where anybody, no matter their background, can learn how to make a difference. So with that vision and mission, we're always trying to think about ways of achieving those two things. And the video podcast series, the second series, is a collection of interviews that I've done with some amazing change makers, social justice warriors who have really had an impact on this world and made a difference. And my job as the interviewer and host was to try and seek the wisdom and knowledge and capture that so that our audiences and our students and our pupils can learn something.
All right. So what is the inspiration behind this particular series?
I think the kind of way I've been thinking about it, particularly once I was interviewing people, was that, throughout history, there have been conversations which have literally changed the world. Whether it be, on the world stage with two nations leaders having a conversation about partnership or how to bring peace during wartime, or a conversation which happens in, a pub, a street corner, a bus stop, an office meeting room, where two people have a conversation and decide they want to do something about something which they want to make a difference on. And so for me, while speaking to all of these amazing guests, I was just thinking these conversations have the power to influence, inspire me whilst I'm sat opposite them. And hopefully it can inspire and change the way people see things whilst they're watching, particularly on how to make a difference and the methods of change that they can utilize to address, social problems like racism and sexism, environmental damage and human rights abuses, poverty and inequality, and all of the injustices which our society faces now and beyond.
So as I understand it, this is the second series, right?
Yes.
All right. So can you please give us a short description of the first series, just as a look back?
Of course. I mean, looking back, this August, it's July now. So next month, we're going to be celebrating 2 years since I started working on the School of Social Justice, and when I founded it with a group of early supporters. Mm-hmm. And back then, it was just an idea. It was just kind of thinking, wait a minute, I know, fortunately, so many people within the world of the nonprofits, campaigning, and advocacy space. I've learned so much from them. We've worked together and fortunately achieved through hard work and dedication and commitment, real change. So how about all of these other up-and-coming, aspiring change makers, like my little cousin who's in his teenage years? He's deciding what he wants to do with his life. The people who have joined a protest for the first time, they might have signed a petition, they might have written a letter to the local politician, they might have volunteered for a charity. But then there are ways, but what is the best way or means through which they can learn how to make a difference even further from that? And so, to be honest, the first series was me just speaking to my friends and being like, hey, I've got this idea. Do you mind if we meet for an hour and chat? And I'm going to put 3 cameras around us. So it literally was that. It was like me with 3 cameras watching YouTube videos about how to do lighting and camera work and sound, going to, shops to buy the equipment, and literally just being like, hey, let's just meet up in this place. Fortunately, we had the support of some people who gave us some space to film, and just said, let's have a chat and press record. And that's what happened. And over a period of a few months, I had captured so many interesting kind of ideas, methods, stories from these amazing cast of guests, and decided, we're going to launch it. So this time last year, we launched the first series. And we learned so much because it was the first time. And so throughout that time, I had built a small team of people who trusted in me, believed in the mission and vision, and who gave it their all. Louis, who's our editor, Noah, who's our videographer. We've had support from so many different advisors, 2 directors, Ravi and Rich, We've got UA, who has been a filmmaker with us for some time. Just so many people. There's so many people that I've missed out there, but I hope that gives you a sense of what the first series was all about. It literally was, here's an idea, let's try it.
Amazing, thank you. So, to the people who are looking forward to the series, when will the series be released? What specific date? And also, will it be released all at once, or will it be released by episode, like weekly or monthly? Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, good question. So, what's great is that we are quite flexible in the way we do things. For me, there's a couple of things which I'm considering. It's like, are we ready? First off, because as soon as we start posting, naturally lots of people who view it will ask questions, they want to get more involved. And also once you start, it's like a non-stop kind of process where every day, every week, we're always posting stuff. So having learned that from the last year, what we've done this year is got a lot of the posts edited and ready, and then we'll schedule it. Rather than per week, we edit and then schedule and publish. So our current launch date is in September. If I remember correctly, I can send you the information. It's like the last week of September. And we're going to announce it next week. So I could give you the dates, and then the press release, the post that you share is what we're going to share with people. And for us, it's just to notify people that this is happening. And then for the weeks to come, we'll put out teasers and trailers and a bit of information. And then come September, we'll launch. And in terms of our distribution, we publish weekly our full episodes. So we've got 18 interviews. We'll post one every Monday. Between late November and early January, we're going to have a break because we're going to do a patron raising campaign. So we're going to ask people if they want to become patrons and become regular donors to the school. So that's going to be a very kind of concise and focused campaign. After that, in the new year, we'll have the second half of the series. So post weekly, but then also after the full-length interviews published, we then post clips throughout the week.
All right, thank you. So just to give people, some excitement and hype, who will be involved in this second series, and what are some of the topics that will be discussed in this one?
I almost feel like I want to keep it secret, but no, like we've got a stellar cast of people. We have Debbie Weeks-Bernard. Debbie is the Deputy Mayor of London with responsibility directly for social justice. So here's a woman who has come from a place which told her, because of the color of her skin, that she's a black woman, and because of where she came from, that she wasn't meant to be in places like, the mayor's office. I mean, she now leads one of the most powerful cities, global cities in the world, in figuring out how we address social problems and create it fairer. So for me, as someone who's worked with her in the past, I learned so much, and she shared her story as well as the challenges she faces in a very public political role, and I can't wait to share her work. We also have a guy called Paul Powlesland, who's a barrister and lawyer, and his story is that, put simply, he took on the King of England. And there was a case, he's a lawyer, and when there was news about the new monarch, the King of England, was being announced, there were protests. And then one person was holding out a blank piece of paper during these protests. And the lawyer, Paul, asked the police officer, if I hold up or write anything on this piece of paper, will I be arrested? And the assumption was that, the note was that, yes, you would be arrested. And so he's a barrister, a lawyer at the front line, fighting for people's rights and freedom of speech. And he shares an amazing story. And I'll give you one more example. Cristina Palabay, who is a Filipino human rights activist. Sadly, she tells the story about how her fellow trade union colleague was killed in the Philippines whilst fighting for workers' rights, and tells us the real dangers that social justice warriors, activists and campaigners face in fighting for, these needs and rights. And so those are only 3 of the 18, and there's so many more amazing people that we've interviewed, and I just can't wait to share their story. They can tell it so much more better than I can, because they've lived it, they've done it, and now they're sharing how with our people who are watching.
I actually have heard of Tina Palabay. I think I'm mutual friends with her. So I think she's also been involved in some environmental organizations and all that, because her name rings a bell. So yeah, I'm excited to learn more about that. So for you personally, what are you most excited about for the series?
For the last few months, I've been living in the Philippines. And I've been figuring out where I want to settle down and where I belong in this world. I personally have spent, 35 years old now. I look pretty young, but my first protest was around my mid-teens and have been campaigning ever since. So I think for me, what I'm really excited about is at this point in my life, being able to share information with not only people who I've campaigned with in Britain, but also people who are aspiring to be change makers in the Philippines and other places in the world. But also have a cultural exchange where we're learning from different activists and campaigners in different continents and different contexts, because I think there's a lot we can learn from each other. I'm also excited about the fact that we've built our team. So, from those humble beginnings of me carrying around 3 cameras and 3 tripods, we're now building a team, including people like yourself, someone who's writing amazing words to share our message and to help us achieve our mission and vision. We've got new video editors who are helping out. We've got new graphic designers, Shara, and we've got our core team from the start. And so I think for me, as somebody who leads the organization, my job is to help provide the space and the means and the tools for my team to deliver for the people who view. So I'm really excited about our team working together. And I think finally, for people who are watching, I'm just really excited to see and hear about what they learn. As we grow, we're hopefully getting better and able to listen to what our viewers learn, know, think, and what feedback they might have about how we can improve in the future. This is only our 2nd series. We hope to have 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, so many series, so we capture the wisdom of change makers. And so I think for me, what I'm excited about is to hear how our audiences react and learn, and hopefully there'll be at least one person who watches, listens, takes action, and not only takes action, but then decides to commit their life or part of their life to making a difference.
All right, thank you. So who are the people that you want to reach through this? What do you hope people will get from the series? If there's one thing that they will get from the series, what do you think should be it?
The person watching this, I'd always imagine in my head as basically I think about, as I said, my younger cousin, but I also think about one of our younger colleagues previously, Charlotte, or I think about some of the people I've seen on rallies who are young and starting, or even somebody who might be retired and they're like, well, I want to give back. It's that person who's an amateur in this space. And the word amateur, I love the actual origin of it. So do you know where the word amateur, what the root of the word amateur is?
I've read of it. I've just read of it.
Yeah, so it comes from a sense of being in love with something or loving something. So an amateur does something, even though they might be bad at it, because of a love of something. And I think for people who believe that they can make a difference, and for people who love their neighbors, their friends, the community, and want to make a difference, and sometimes fight for them, but also sometimes protect, or sometimes just help. That's the kind of person that we're speaking with, because I've seen throughout the years that one person really can make a difference. And if there's anything that can come out of this, it's that a young, aspiring campaigner who has doubts about whether or not they can make a difference, or who has no knowledge, watches one of these interviews and learns from people who have done it before them, and almost take the baton and start themselves and commit themselves to this kind of work.
How will this series be accessed? Is it for free? And also, how can people donate or register for this if they want to support?
Yeah, great question. So one of the earliest decisions I needed to make with my team, how do we want to share this? How do we want to distribute it? And, right now there's a whole bunch of streaming platforms. We all know them, which charge a monthly subscription for access to content. And then there's also content all around the world which is free, which you access as well too for free. I think for me, it was really crucial that we provide access to our content as easily as possible. And part of that is not having a price. So we provide this content for free. And I'm really happy about that, because that means that anybody with access to the internet or with a friend who has a phone can watch these videos. And not only now, but because the videos, they can watch them in the future. But then the question comes, like, how do we fund this work? Because, you know, I've got bills to pay. I need to feed myself. I'd like to one day have a home where I can raise a family and provide. And so does every single member of my team in terms of their needs. So what I realized that we're so fortunate because we have people out there in the world who see our mission, believe in our team, have seen what we've delivered with very limited resources and said, we back you. And so we've been funded so far by foundations and trusts who have given us grants. And part of my job is to work with those foundations and trusts to fundraise, but also secure funding for long term. And also patrons. So patrons are ordinary people like you and me who, again, believe in a mission, believe in a vision, believe in our team, and want to train this next generation of Martin Luther Kings. And they chip in a little bit of cash every month. So on average now we receive around, people can donate £5, £10, any amount they believe they can commit. And it's our target to get 2,500 patrons. And with 2,500 patrons, we'll be able to be fully sustainable without the need for grant funding. So one big challenge for this year and next year is increasing our patron base. Because right now we've got an amazing dedicated group of people who are donating. But we now need to increase that by a large amount. And so we're working with our team to find people who can give and share them the website link, which they can go on to schoolofsocialjustice.com/supporters and sign up and retain and keep with us throughout this journey. One final thing is that there have also been individuals who have been quite lucky in terms of wealth, and they've also donated personally sums of money, which has helped us survive as well. So yeah, that's a bit about kind of how we fund ourselves and how people can chip in.
All right, that's it. I think I'm done with my questions. So if there's anything else you want to say, you can say it now, and then we can end this.
Yeah, no, I just want to say thank you so much for your time. It's really good to finally see you on Zoom, but hopefully see you in person in the future.
Yeah, thank you. I hope to see you soon. It was lovely talking with you. Thank you. Bye-bye.